If you listen to the national media, they will just tell you that this is a minor speed bump against the Atlanta Hawks on the road to the second round for the Knicks. But if you look at the tape from the first 96 minutes of the series, there's a much more deeper, more concerning narrative unfolding. The even-keeled perspective is that the Knicks are currently suffering from an architectural identity crisis. We spent the entire 2026 regular season praising the depth of this team, the 53 wins, and the elite wing talent like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. But in the postseason, when the game slows down and the pressure mounts, the Knicks have reverted to a style of basketball that is statistically unsustainable. We are seeing a return to a heliocentric, Jalen Brunson dependent offense that is essentially freezing out the most talented roster that this franchise has seen in 30 years. This is not just about the outcome of Game 3 in Atlanta, it is about whether this specific blueprint for the Knicks can actually survive 4 rounds of playoff basketball. Let's look at the numbers because they are staggering. Through 2 games, Jalen Brunson is carrying a usage rate north of 35%. In the fourth quarter of Game 2, that number spiked to nearly 40%. For context, that is higher than the usage rates that we see from historic heliocentric players like prime James Harden or Russell Westbrook. And while in my opinion Brunson is a top 10 player in this league and arguably the best closer in the Eastern Conference, playing this way makes the Knicks predictable. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and the Hawks' perimeter defenders have spent the last 48 hours studying exactly how to bait Brunson into contested mid-range jumpers. When one player is taking double the shots of anyone else on the floor, the rest of the roster becomes stagnant. The ball stops moving, the cuts stop happening, and the Knicks become easy to guard. The irony is that Leon Rose built this roster specifically so Brunson would not have to carry this burden. Yet here we are in the playoffs and the hero ball instinct has taken over once again. This leads us directly to the Karl-Anthony Towns Enigma. Cat was brought here to be the ultimate offensive release valve. He's arguably the greatest shooting big man in NBA history, and his presence is supposed to make double teaming Brunson a death sentence. In the third quarter of Game 2, we clearly saw the vision. Cat scored 14 points in 12 minutes, he was dominant, he was efficient, and he forced Atlanta to scramble. Then in the fourth quarter, he disappeared. 2 shot attempts in the final 12 minutes of the game. That is not just a player having a bad quarter, that is a systemic failure. If the Knicks consider themselves as legitimate title contenders, Cat cannot be a spectator in the clutch. There is a silent pressure mounting here. Executives around the league are already whispering that if Towns cannot impose his will on a series against a Hawks front court that lacks a true rim protector, the Knicks may have to survey the market for trades this summer. That is a heavy narrative to carry, but it is the reality of being a max contract player in New York. The partnership between Brunson and Towns is the foundation of the 52-win era. But if they cannot figure out the hierarchy in the closing minutes of the game, that foundation is on a shaky ground. We also must address the no-star stretches that continue to plague Mike Brown's rotations. This has been the Achilles heel of the team all season. Brown has a tendency to sometimes sit both Brunson and Towns at the same time to start the second and fourth quarters. In Game 1, the Knicks managed to survive those minutes, but in Game 2, they lost those stretches by 7 points in a game that was decided by only 1. The Knicks are simply not built to function without at least one primary floor general or gravity creator on the hardwood. Deuce McBride and Jordan Clarkson are elite spark plugs, but they are not offensive organizers. When the offense stalls during these bridge lineups, it forces the starters to play catch-up for the rest of the game, and it also adds unnecessary fatigue to Brunson and puts the defense under immense pressure. Mike Brown has to realize that in the playoffs, you cannot gamble with rest lineups. You have to stagger your stars. It is a solvable problem, but it does require a level of tactical flexibility that we have not seen consistently yet in this series. While the offense is soul-searching, Mitchell Robinson has been the only thing keeping the defensive floor from collapsing. Mitch is currently the most impactful defensive player in the series. His ability to anchor the paint and erase the straight-line drives of Jalen Johnson is the only reason that the Knicks were even in a position to win Game 2. He is coming off a Defensive Player of the Game performance in Atlanta earlier this month, and his role tonight is even more critical. Robinson provides a physical change of pace that Cat simply cannot offer. He is a better rim protector and a much more disruptive force on the offensive glass. If Mitchell Robinson is not on the floor to clean up the perimeter mistakes, the Knicks defense looks mortal. He is the insurance policy for the identity crisis. As long as Mitch is healthy and dominant, the Knicks can survive their offensive droughts, but relying on your backup center to save the season is a dangerous game to play long term. The goal for this season was never just to beat the Atlanta Hawks. The goal is the NBA Finals, but to get there, the Knicks have to evolve past the habits that cost them Game 2. It might be a blessing in disguise that they lost that game. They have to find a way to better integrate Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby into the consistent scoring flow so that the defense cannot just load up on the stars. They have to prove that they are more than just a Jalen Brunson show with high-end role players team. We are looking at a team that has the talent to be the best in the East, but they are currently playing like a team that is afraid of its own depth. Tonight in Atlanta is about more than just a 2-1 lead potentially, it is about establishing a sustainable championship identity. If they can fix the usage rates and the rotations now, they become the scariest team in the bracket. But in the case that they do not figure it out sooner than later, we're going to be having very uncomfortable conversations that we would not want to have about this roster construction in 2 weeks. I'm staying even-keeled because the talent on this roster is undeniable. 53 wins was not a fluke. The defense is elite and the stars are capable of historic performances, but the playoffs are a magnifying glass, and right now, that glass is pointed directly at the Knicks' inability to share the load. The architecture is there, but the execution needs to change. Let me know in the comments, do you think the Knicks are too dependent on Jalen Brunson, or is hero ball in the fourth quarter the only way to win in the postseason for this team? And are you worried about KAT's long-term fit if this series is going the wrong way? I'll be in the comments all day talking hoops. It's been KNYT here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.